question? Yeah. All right, cool. So let's do something. I'm going to record just in case, I don't know, anyone happens to have a technical issue, power cut, whatever, so that, we have a plan B just in case. Let me do that. There we go. All right, cool. So let's begin. So once again, thank you all for joining. The idea today is to talk a little bit about planning, prompting, how to use ChatGPT, AI, things that we can do with it, and also to see how we can use it in a practical way, because there are lots of videos and hacks and tutorials and everything, but sometimes, the moment we want to actually use them, it's like, okay, this doesn't look like this video I watched on Instagram or whatever. So the idea is to go over everything together. If you happen to have questions, comments, doubts, or whatever, feel free to open your microphone, share whatever question, comment you have, or just write it, use the chat box, okay? And I'll be reading everything. All right. And super important, you don't need the premium version of ChatGPT to do any of the things I'm going to be sharing. I don't have it myself. I have the free version, and I can do all the things I'm going to share with you. These are all things that I have done with my students. So no need to get the paid version. If you want to, fantastic, but not necessary. We will see that we might have some limits. Now I'm going to mention, okay, we have to be careful here, we have to be careful there, but we can use the free version, no problem. All right, so I thought we could start by talking a little bit about prompting, because the key is prompting. That's what's going to help us get exactly what we're looking for. And before we even start prompting, there's something that we can do to make sure that ChatGPT knows who we are, what we do, what we're looking for, and how we want the output to be organized and everything. So we're going to go to our profile picture. We're going to click there. And we're going to go to where it says Customize ChatGPT. Okay, we just click there. And we're going to see this. So basically, we have two questions. And the idea is to share information about ourselves, our students, our jobs, the type of lessons we plan, I don't know, business English, primary school, whatever, so that ChatGPT knows what we're looking for, right? And let me show you this. You will see here that ChatGPT provides you with some tips. So, okay, where are you based? What do you do for work? What are your interests, right? So just some ideas. Now, if we're teachers and we're going to be using ChatGPT to plan lessons, here are some other ideas. We can tell ChatGPT a little bit about our role, because one thing is to be a primary school teacher, and another thing is to be a secondary school teacher, and another thing is to be a business English teacher. One thing is to work at school, another thing is to work for a company. So, something to keep in mind. Our goals. Do we want to develop our student speaking skills? Do we want to plan lessons? Do we want to improve, I don't know, our classroom management skills? Are we going to say, ChatGPT, I have this problem with some students, I need a hand, provide me with strategies, ideas, activities. How you want ChatGPT to communicate with you? Here I have some examples. Do you want concise, practical, answers? Do you want practical advice? Do you want examples? Like ChatGPT, every time I ask you for an activity, I want an example so that I can see how I'm supposed to use this with my students. Right? Topics of interest. I know, what are your students interested in? Are you teaching business English? Are you focusing on, the water cycle? Are your students interested in a certain movie? Or, what do you want to do as a teacher? And then limitations. And this one is very useful. So, for example, last year I was teaching online, and one of the groups I was working with, it was a group of adults, and they were not very tech savvy. So I was like, okay, ChatGPT, If you're going to provide me with, I don't know, cool speaking activities, fantastic, but make sure they are simple activities. If we start doing like complex things, my students are going to get lost. So, don't overdo it. I want to do something fun, but let's keep it simple. So, something to keep in mind, just to make sure that we get exactly what we're looking for. ChatGPT can create pretty much anything, but, maybe it's not what we need or what we are looking for. So, just keep these things in mind. ChatGPT, please, when you create things for me. All right. And now, yes, ChatGPT knows who we are, who our students are, what our goals are. Let's see how we can prompt. So there are different prompting techniques, really. I picked two because as teachers, I think that these are the ones that are going to be most useful for us. So we can go with a long, detailed prompt, and we're going to share absolutely everything ChatGPT. By the way, I'm talking about ChatGPT, but it can be Claude, it can be Gemini, it can be Copilot, you pick. So we're going to include all the information AI needs to have in order to produce something, an activity, a lesson plan, a model, a text, whatever. For example, here, write a lesson plan for a 45-minute general English lesson on the past simple tense for intermediate learners. Include a warm-up, presentation, and practice activities, and a cool-down activity. Make it interactive and suitable for a group of 15 students. So, level, topic, type of activities I'm looking for, number of students I'm going to be working with, type of lesson. There you have a lot of information for ChatGPT to start working. Of course, if he provides us with something that's not really what we're looking for, we can regenerate. That's okay. We can change the prompt a little bit, no problem. And then we have another option. We can go step by step, and we are going to design with ChatGPT. So we start with only one thing. Okay, ChatGPT, suggest a topic for a lesson aimed at teaching narrative tenses. So imagine ChatGPT can say something like, okay, you can talk about your weekend and use narrative tenses to tell people what you did. Cool. But I can say, no, I don't like that topic because I always ask my students what they did or what their weekend was like. I want to do something different so that it's a special lesson. Regenerate. Okay, ChatGPT says something, for example, okay, talk about your last holidays. Okay, I like that topic. Sounds cool. Okay, now with that topic, outline a warm-up activity for that lesson. And ChatGPT comes up with a warm-up activity. Okay, I like it. Cool. Now, I don't know, we're going to work on reading. So here's the text. Let's use this text to do this, or design it, or come up with a text to talk about our last holiday, right? For example. So we go step by step together, and they're both cool, these techniques. But the thing is that if we happen to want to change something, it's easier to do so with the step-by-step prompting technique. Because if there's something we don't like, we can change it before ChatGPT keeps going. Something to keep in mind. All right, and some elements that we can include when we prompt. A persona. Who is ChatGPT supposed to be? A doctor? A teacher? He knows a lot, but I wouldn't ask a doctor to plan a lesson for me. I would ask a teacher to do so. Context, where are you working? Is it a state-run school? Is it a company? Is it a bilingual school? We have different requirements, so something to keep in mind. The task. And here we have to include two things that are super important. First of all, what we want to do, for example, design a lesson plan to work on speaking. And number two, what the goal is. So this would be the learning outcome. So I don't want my students to speak for the sake of speaking. I want my students to speak because I want them to know or to learn how to interact in English, how to hold the floor, how to, I don't know, ask questions, how to describe something. So what's the goal? What do I want my students to be able to do? Super important to plan that, because this is going to help us make sure that when we get an activity, a lesson, whatever, we get the lesson plan we're looking for, and not just like any type of, for example, speaking lesson. Format. This is up to us. Do we want a list so that we can start, crossing out things as we go? Do we need a chart, for example, because we need to hand in whatever, I don't know, maybe a lesson plan, we have to share it with the head of the place where we work. Maybe we need a specific type of chart. So we would say, okay, format everything in a chart with these and these columns, for example. Maybe an example to guide ChatGPT. It's an option to say, okay, for example, this is what I am looking for. And the tone, useful if you're creating materials. Sound friendly. Sound, be funny. Sound confident, for example. There's something to keep in mind if we're creating texts, for example, to use with our students. All right. And this is the thing. If we want to include examples, something that we might want to do is share a picture or a screenshot. Okay, maybe we see something on the internet and we're like, hey, I would love to have something like this to use with my students, but this is, not appropriate. Maybe I need to change it a little bit. So we can take a screenshot or just copy the picture from the internet, like we do, just click, copy, and then we go to ChatGPT, paste it, right? And then we start writing. Okay, use this model to write a similar one, but for 80 students, for C1 students. But talking about, your last holidays, whatever. So, it's cool. If you already know what you want, maybe you just need to tweak it a little bit. ChatGPT can do it for us. Of course, we're teachers, we can do it as well. But, it can help us save some time, or it can provide us with alternatives. Sometimes it's like, oh, how can I even start? Well, ChatGPT can help, So I told you about all the elements that we can include when we're prompting. And if we include them all, this is what a prompt would look like. Let's break it down. So take a look. Oh, hold on a minute. Where is it? Where did I include it? Hold on. I have another one because I really want you to see it when we break it down. Hold on a second. I have many presentations for different workshops, and it seems like I forgot to add that one. There we go. Here. Oh, let's see. There we go. Can you see that one? Where it's everything. Oh, go. All right. So there we have everything. The persona. You're an experienced primary school teacher of English. The context. We are working with 6th grade Argentine kids in a state-run school. The task. I needed to create a 40-minute lesson plan to teach the water cycle. And super important, the goal. The goal is for students to learn to understand the key stages, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, everything. And learn key vocabulary in English. These are the words I want to focus on: clouds, rain, condensation, everything. And by the end of the lesson, students should be able to explain the water cycle in English. So that is probably going to be one of the activities. Right? The format, I need to hand this in. So please format everything in a table with the following columns: stage, timing, activity description, materials needed. And I decided to include an example of a warm-up just so that ChatGPT knows more or less what I'm looking for, the level of detail. And I didn't say anything about the tone because this is for me. My students are not going to read this, so don't really care about the tone. But this is everything that we might need, to make sure that ChatGPT knows exactly what we're looking for. And we can use that to plan our lesson. Now, this is the thing. You might be wondering, do I really need to type all of this? Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the patience to do this. And the answer is no, we don't have to. There are different things that we can do. So one of those things is called context cheating. Because think about this, whatever we might want to do, someone else probably did it already. And it's probably out there on the internet. So for example, imagine that I want to work on, I don't know, project-based learning. I don't feel like explaining to ChatGPT how I want to go about it, the stages, everything. It's a bit annoying and it takes a lot of time. So I go to the internet and type PBL lesson stages. I do some research, okay, and look, I found this very nice graph with all the stages. And I think, hey, I think my students are going to love this. I think this is going to be useful for us. I would love to do something like this. So I'm going to copy this picture that was there on the internet. I'm going to go to ChatGPT, paste it, and now share my prompt. So you're an experienced primary school teacher of English, create a 40-minute lesson plan to teach the water cycle to 6th grade Argentine kids in a state-run school, blah, 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 blah. So there I go. And ChatGPT provided me with the lesson plan respecting all the stages that were in the screenshot. Project planning, project launch, project implementation, speaking practice. And I didn't have to explain to ChatGPT what stages I wanted it to include, how I wanted to go about it. So, the moment we don't feel like typing, remember, we don't have to. There's probably something out there already to help us. Something to keep in mind. And let's see, another thing that we can do if we don't feel like typing, and maybe we also don't feel like doing a lot of research, is to, for example, I have ChatGPT downloaded on my phone. And if you go to the app, again, free version also, I just opened my account here and I just have to click here, you see, or tap here, and I just start talking and I go, you're an experienced primary school teacher, design a 40-minute lesson plan to work on the water cycle with 20 children, blah, 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 blah. And let's see. Ta-da! And now I send it, and ChatGPT starts planning for me. Now, because my account is open, then I go to my browser, go to ChatGPT, copy it, and I start editing it. Maybe this lesson plan is not absolutely perfect because AI is just a tool, but I can use it and start making changes, modifying things. I can regenerate some things as well, but I already have a lot to work with. And I didn't need to type anything, and I just said what I needed, and that's it. So it can help us save a lot of time. It's really, really useful. Another thing, maybe you don't want to, download the app and everything. Now we don't have to, because we can actually talk to ChatGPT, even if we're using our browser. Just click here and start talking, and ChatGPT will be listening to you. So, another thing to keep in mind, if you don't feel like typing, you don't have to. Yeah, ChatGPT will listen to you as well. Yeah. And this is an example of the step-by-step prompt. So we include important information. So you're an experienced primary school teacher of English, create a warm-up for a lesson on the water cycle. This is what I'm using. If I see this and I don't like it, I can regenerate it. If I see it and I like it, I can keep going. Okay, now, add a reading activity where students have to, blah, 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 blah. If I don't like it, I regenerate it. If I do like it, I keep going. That's another way to go about it. Hold on, there's a message here. It happens to me that when I use the account myself, or when I go to the computer, the chat doesn't appear. Oh, I don't know why that's happening. Something that you can do is, if you go to ChatGPT using your browser, do you go to the sidebar here where you have all your chats? Because something that ChatGPT does is name your chats. So maybe because ChatGPT decided to name it in a certain way, you don't recognize it, but Let me show you. I have something because I wanted to do something live with you guys to show you. And look, imagine that this is what ChatGPT looks like. Go here to the sidebar, open it, and you will see your chats. And you can open something else. So maybe your is probably going to be here. So let's see, Nicole, if you want to try it, we can see if you can find your chats.
Yes, I will try it out, but it has happened to me because I generally use it. I generally use ChatGPT for my classes, and sometimes it doesn't appear. So what I do is like copy and paste, maybe on WhatsApp, and then I paste it. Maybe that's another way. But as the accounts are the same, I thought like it's weird. But well, I will check it out later. It's okay.
Sure. And I have a question. Do you do it at the same time? Like, do you ask ChatGPT to start planning something and you go straight to your browser?
Right.
Oh, then do something. Hold on a minute. We can do it now because it will need a moment to load. Sometimes if I do that, for example, too quickly, I go to my browser and ChatGPT like just didn't have the time to process that. But let's do it together. So here I have a new chat. You see, a clean one. Shall we? I don't know. Shall we talk about the water cycle? So you're an experienced primary school teacher. Plan a lesson plan on the water cycle. Super vague, but it doesn't matter. I just want something to say water cycle. So there I have my prompt. Let's send it. So there it is, creating the lesson. Da, 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 da. Oh, hold on. It didn't understand me. You're an experienced primary. Can you see it?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, I was sorry. I thought I was muted. Yes. Now it appears. Maybe maybe I didn't see it before, but yes, now I can.
Oh, cool. So yeah, give it some minutes because sometimes I do the same thing. I share a prompt using my phone and I come to the browser and it's AI, but it still needs time to process everything. So
on a minute.
yeah, exactly. Cool.
Thanks.
That's great. Cool. All right. So example of a step-by-step prompt. There we go. All right. Now let's talk about planning. We know how to prompt, but let's create lesson plans. So we're going to create an activity to focus on specific skills, because again, I don't want the speaking skill for my students to speak for the sake of speaking. I need my students to work on something to develop a certain skill. So let's go again. You're a creative and experienced ESL teacher who works with teens. Come up with a free practice activity I can use to close a speaking lesson on hobbies, where my 16-year-old B2 students will practice talking about what they enjoy doing in their free time. Some of the hobbies we'll discuss are knitting, sewing, painting, photography, and do-it-yourself projects. The aim, super important, the aim is for students to be able to hold the floor and speak at length. Again, I don't want to chat. I don't want a conversation. I need them to hold the floor. So I share that with ChatGPT. ChatGPT created the activity for me. I like it. I'm going to use it. It's nice. Cool. Now, one thing is to have this. This is lovely. I love the activity. I think my students are going to love it. But I need to take this into the classroom, right? So let's get everything ready. So now, next prompt. Write the instructions so that my students can read them and know what they have to do. Because, I always share instructions, but there's always someone who's not listening to me. So I want my students to have something written just in case. Give them information on how they will know they are doing a good job and the goal of the activity. Because I am working with 30 students and I will go around the classroom listening to them, but I cannot be there for all of them at the same time. So, give them something they can have there with them. And something that we might want to add is provide them with useful phrases to complete the activity. Maybe we don't need to because we already worked on vocabulary, but if we haven't, we can add this. So let's see how it goes. So it says, goal. The goal of this activity is to practice speaking at length about your hobbies. So it's addressing students. You will know if you're doing a good job if you speak clearly and confidently for about 2 minutes, explain why you enjoy your hobby, respond to questions from your classmates. And we even have a breakdown here, what to do. Choose a hobby. Prepare your pitch. So, students know how to go about it. Like, how am I supposed to talk about my hobby? Well, pick one, prepare your pitch. We can take it step by step. We have these useful phrases. So my hobby is, it's a type of activity where I enjoy it because, see? So again, with the teachers, we can do this ourselves. Maybe we don't have time. Maybe we do have time, or we can use ChatGPT to help us save time. If there's something that we don't like, we can edit it or regenerate it, or we already have a lot to work with. So again, just going over everything again. So we have the goal, we have the steps, everything. Again, we might want to change it if we want to. Instead of pick one, use the hobby or talk about the hobby your teacher assigned you, for example. And we can change the instructions. Maybe some students are going to talk for 2 minutes. Some of them are going to speak for 1 minute. We can change that if we want to. And let's do the same thing, but with a whole lesson, right? So, different prompt. You're a creative and experienced ESL teacher who works with teens. Come up with a lesson plan on hobbies where my 16-year-old B2 students will talk about what they enjoy doing in their free time. Some of the hobbies we'll discuss are knitting, sewing, painting, photography, and do-it-yourself projects. The aim is for students to be able to hold the floor and speak at length. So same thing, but not an activity. I need the whole lesson. I need to prepare my students. I need to give them vocabulary. I need to get them ready. So I share that with ChatGPT, and he provided me with a beautiful lesson. Really, really nice. I really liked it. So there I have it. Once again, let's get ready to take it into the classroom. So this is going, sharing everything with ChatGPT is going to help us make sure that it's the type of speaking lesson that we need, not just a random speaking lesson. The vocabulary we're going to use is the one that we want. I want to focus on sewing. I don't want to focus on fishing. They already know fishing. I want to focus on something else, right? So if the lesson plan is not what we want, or the activity is not what we want, or what we needed, regenerate. We can also use those buttons, thumb up, thumb down, to say, okay, this is what I was looking for. This level of detail, I love it. Or not what I was looking for. Expand on this. Give me more, for example. So the ChatGPT starts getting to know you little by little, right? Or we can just ask questions. Can you give me a different response? I would like another take on that. Or can you approach it from another angle? The lesson plan is nice, but we always do this. I want to do something different. Can you? I don't even know what I want, but just, I don't know, approach it from a different angle, and let's see what you can provide me with. And let's see how that works. So I love the lesson plan, but I thought, okay, we're always doing the same thing. So can you give me a different response? I'd like to work with a video. ChatGPT said, yeah, sure. He created another lesson plan on hobbies for my B2 students. Beautiful. And if you take a look at this, he selected a video. It says you can use a TED video on how hobbies can improve mental health. Before watching activities, while watching, after watching activities. This is amazing. I mean, love it. Let's do the same thing. Let's get everything ready to go into the classroom. But when I do that, turns out that video doesn't exist. There are videos on how playing an instrument can benefit your brain, and there are videos on how playing sports can benefit your body. But all these lovely questions, I mean, what am I going to use them for? This video doesn't even exist. So let's go again. New prompt. Now we're going to use AI for finding teaching resources. And we're going to do this. Can you give me a different response? I would like to work with a video. So use the same before, while, and post watching activities, but find me 3 different videos I can use with my B2 students to talk about hobbies. So I didn't say just video, I said find me the video. So ChatGPT provided me with 1 video. I said 3, so here's 1 video, the second video, and the third video, right? And the activities are different. They are connected to the videos. Look, there's a pre-watching activity where we have to provide students with a list of hobbies. And this one is a discussion activity. What are common hobbies in your country? So they are a bit different. Now, if we need the videos, yeah, we can go to YouTube, or we can scroll down. Mine says Fuentes, maybe yours says Sources. It depends on what language you have it. You just click there, and you're going to find a sidebar. It's going to open, and you're going to find the links to the resources that ChatGPT found for you. Let me show you a video so that we can see how it works. So that's the prompt I just shared with you. Can you give me a different response? I would like to work with a video. Find me 3 to talk about hobbies with B2 students, group of teens. Video number 1, real British English conversation. Video number 2, hobbies, vocabulary, ESL. Video number 3, hobbies and interests. I scroll down. I click where it says Fuentes or Sources. Click there. I see the sidebar opening. And now, let's see, I like this video. Hobbies, vocabulary, ESL. I find it there. I click on it. And there we go. The video does exist. So sometimes ChatGPT will provide us with things that are not what we are looking for, and that's okay. We just need to tweak the prompt a little bit to make sure he provides us with what we actually need, right? So there we go. We found our video. So now we can actually use it with our students. All right. Another thing that we can do if we're not getting the output we want is use the power of 3. Mind you, it can be the power of 3, 5, or 15. So basically, you ask for different variations. So for example, here I said, find me 3 different videos. I wasn't going to use 3. I just wanted to pick myself. So give me 3, and I pick the one that I want. So something to keep in mind. We can correct prompts, change some things here and there, as we did before. We can also try A/B testing. So it's basically using the same prompt, but we're going to make some changes. So this is the same lesson that I want to plan, but here I included the vocabulary I want to focus on. And here I didn't, because I thought, okay, let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. And I also thought, okay, I'm going to describe my students a little bit so that ChatGPT, can keep that in mind. This is a noisy and very energetic group. So maybe, he can come up with some cool activities for that type of student, just to keep it in mind. And then I can share both with ChatGPT, take a look at both lesson plans and say, okay, I like this one better. Or I like this part from this one, this part from this one, and I can start, creating my own lesson plan. Something to keep in mind. All right, or we can just rewrite the prompt like we did before. This one didn't exist, this video, so I was more specific. Instead of I want to work with a video, find me 3 videos to use with B2 students, a group of teens, whatever. So ChatGPT found those videos for me, just to keep in mind. All right. Just in case, how are we doing? So far, so good. Do we have comments, questions? Yeah? I see some thumbs up. Yeah? All right, cool. Cool. Great. If you happen to have questions, you just tell me. All right, a hack here. Sometimes we need to plan things collaboratively. We can do that using ChatGPT as well. So if we go here where it says share, we can create a link to share with a colleague, and we can use the same chat together. So we can plan things together using ChatGPT. Really cool. So here, create link, copy it, and share it with a colleague. And here's a video. I create it, copy the link, and now my colleague just has to paste that link And there we see they're going to see the chat. There we go. And they can see everything from the very first prompt, like everything. So, maybe if you're going to plan with someone, you might want to start a new chat, just to keep in mind. So, but we can plan together, and then our colleague can keep going as well. So it's a nice thing to know. All right, adapting resources, right? We talked a little bit about that. Maybe we have some material. I know there's a text or something that we want to use with our students, but it's not appropriate. Maybe the language, I know this is going to be too difficult for my students. So I can either take a screenshot or copy the text and paste it on ChatGPT and say, okay, rewrite this so that my students can understand it. My A2 students can understand it, and also make it sound a bit more friendly, So there I have the text, done. If I like it, I can use it. If I don't, I can regenerate it, or I can edit it myself. That's about it. And maybe I can want to do, maybe I need to do more. Maybe I have 30 students and they all have different levels, So what can I do? I can, first of all, say, okay, what do I need? Do I need to, what problems, issues, or things do we need to focus on? And based on that, do I need to simplify the material? Do I need to make it more challenging for some students? What do I need really? So then we're going to take whatever text, article, anything that we want to use with them. And this can be a prompt. For example, write 3 different versions of this text. One for strong A2 students, another one for weak A2 students whose first language is Spanish, and another one for B1 students, okay? And also, mark in bold all the changes you make so that, when I read them, I know exactly what ChatGPT changed. It's easier for me to go about it that way. So I shared this prompt, the text, ChatGPT started working. Let's take a look. So version 1, it says Meta is changing how it checks posts for false or misleading information. Beautiful. There's a version for B1 students. Meta is updating its fact-checking system for post. Beautiful. And then we have the version for weak A2 students whose first language is Spanish. Meta va a cambiar cómo revisa los posts. That didn't work. Let's try again. Let's go again. The prompt wasn't good enough. So let's do it one more time. So write 3 different versions of this text in English. One for strong A2 students, another one for weak A2 students whose first language is Spanish, but they are learning English, and another one for B1 students, and please mark in bold all the changes. Let's go again. I share the text, I share the new prompt, and now let's go again. When I go here where it says weak A2 students who are Spanish speakers, now it says Meta's current program to check facts started in 2016. So you see the sentences are shorter, so there we go. The first time I didn't get what I needed. It was just a matter of tweaking the prompt a little bit so that I could get what I really needed. So it's something to keep in mind. And there we go. We have what we need. And the cool thing is that we can use the very same text with different students. They don't need to know I'm giving them different texts. I did this a couple of times, and I didn't tell students I was giving them different texts because the topic was the same, the title was the same, and the questions were the same. So I just gave them different texts, and they all worked on reading. They were all comfortable, but they didn't know they were a different text. I mean, the level of difficulty was different. So, something good to keep in mind. We can make sure that everyone feels comfortable. And it took like 30 seconds, so that's the best part. All right, and something to keep in mind, we can share chats with other teachers or colleagues, whatever, but if we share pictures, we cannot do that. So maybe if you want to share a chat, instead of pasting a screenshot, just copy the text, so that you can share it later, just in case, something to keep in mind. All right, other things we might want to do, maybe change the way something looks. Maybe we want to adapt the format of an activity. Let me show you an example. This is an activity that came with the book that I was using with some students. I mean, it was okay, but so am I. I don't know. It wasn't very engaging for me. So I just took a screenshot and said, "You're a primary school teacher working with 20 years of experience. Redesign this activity in different ways so that it teaches for different learning styles: visual, kinesthetic, linguistic." And there you go. Students are going to be focusing on the same language item, but now we have 3 different activities. And the cool thing is that it can make checking more interesting as well, because it's not like, oh, they're reading the answers that I wrote. Like, I don't know, I'm not going to pay attention, whatever. No, hey, I saw you guys standing over there. What were you doing? Hey, I know you guys were writing. Did you, I don't know, write a story? Oh, let me tell you what we worked on. So students can work in groups, do different things, but they're all going to be practicing or working on the same language item. So, also a cool activity. And again, it takes 30 seconds. If we don't like it, we regenerate it. And if we do, we can use it. And the cool thing is that we don't even need to stop there. We can say, okay, ChatGPT, put all these instructions in a chart and address students, okay? Tell them what they have to do, how they will know they're doing a good job. And we can just share the chart with them and say, guys, what do you want to work on today? We're going to work on this. We're going to work on, I don't know, the past simple, but how do you want to go about it? And that's about it. And if they want to work on different things, because they say, okay, I really need to work on speaking, I'm going to go with dialogue practice. Okay, cool. So you go there. You guys match the responses, you go there. Standard response, you go there. And they're all working on the same thing, but differently. And that's something that's really cool. And students really appreciate having the chance to pick that. So with that. And now, super important. We talked about some things we can do when we're not getting the results we want, but here are some more tips. We can stack prompts. So for example, go like start asking ChatGPT different questions. So for example, imagine you need to work on, I don't know, the passive voice. You don't know how to go about it. You don't have a book. You don't have a guide. So let's see, ChatGPT, what are the uses of the passive voice in English? Here we have a list. Okay, so maybe I want to focus on use number 2. I think my students are going to find it useful. Or maybe I want to see how I can go about all of them. So, okay, now give me ideas to work on that with 15-year-old students. Now I have lots of cool ideas. Okay, but the ideas are nice. But how do I actually do this with my students? So expand on these and also give me one practical activity. I don't want just the idea. I want the activity. And then we can ask for examples. And then we can ask for a guide to see what students are going to have to do. So here I have the objective. The action is more important than the doer. The name of the activity, the instructions, how to go about it, and some examples so that I can share them with my students and show them how they have to work. So it took a couple of minutes, but it was easier for me to, go make sure all these are things that I needed or that I found useful. All right, the guide for students. So basically we break down the prompt and plan with ChatGPT. It's kind of like teamwork. Another thing, it sounds super silly, but you can organize your chats by renaming them. So if there's a game that was really cool, say, okay, game to work on, blah, 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 so that you can find it later. It sounds super silly, but I've spent a lot of time looking for games that I had already designed. So, rename the chats, super useful, or delete the ones that are not good. I didn't like this activity, just delete it, get rid of it. Reuse templates. If there's a prompt that worked well, keep it, and save it somewhere. I have a document with prompts that were useful for me. And whenever I need to do something similar, I just go there, tweak it a little bit, but I already have kind of like a template, let's say. So that's another thing we can do. If they work, save them. And another thing that we can do, if we're not getting the results we want or that we need, we can go to our profile picture and go to where it says settings. and we're going to click where it says personalization. Once we are here, we can delete ChatGPT's memories. And this is the thing. Our chats are not going anywhere. They're still going to be there. But ChatGPT is going to forget the information it learned, right, from those chats. And this is a cool thing because think about this. Maybe you used ChatGPT back in 2022 when you were teaching in primary school. 2023, you were also a primary school teacher. 2024, you were also a primary school teacher. So ChatGPT is okay. This is a primary school teacher, no doubt. But it's 2025, and now you're working for a company. And every time you want to use ChatGPT, the lessons are just, I don't know, not what you were looking for. Because ChatGPT thinks that he's still designing lesson plans for a primary school teacher. So say, okay, clear memories, new year, new job, new role. Let's start again. Again, your chats are still going to be there. It says it will forget everything it has remembered from your chats, but not your chats. Your chats are still going to be there. You can go back, you can continue using them. But, this can help if you're not getting the results you want. And remember this first thing that I shared with you, when you can describe yourself, that's also going to be there. And you can change it every year. Now I'm working in secondary school. Now I'm working in primary school. Start making changes. ChatGPT will say, oh, okay, new job. Let's go. So something to keep in mind as well. All right. And one more to avoid generic output is, again, profile picture. We're going to go to settings. And this time we're going to go to data controls. Right there, data controls. And we're going to make sure that this is toggled off where it says improve the model for everyone. No, whatever I do is between ChatGPT and me. Because if you train the model for everyone, whatever you do affects other people, and whatever other people do affects you. No, this is between you and me, ChatGPT. Okay, so I don't want you to do things based on how other teachers trained you or how other people train you. This is between you and me. So something that can help as well. So there you go. You just done. Okay. So the content is mine. Don't use it to, I don't know, to share this with other people, whatever. This is between you and me. All right. So how are we doing? I don't want to rush, but I do want to talk about games. So how are we doing so far? Do we have any questions or comments? All right, cool. So gamification, it is. So there are lots of things that we can do with AI. We're going to do something similar to what we did before. Basically, try to come up with the best possible prompt to either create games or adapt activities and turn them into games. And these are some things that I created with ChatGPT, but of course there are more. And let me show you the prompts. So, by the way, here you have like 8 ideas, but here are all the prompts. So if you're writing them down, now we're going to go one by one. So quiz games. So for example, create a set of 10 multiple choice questions for a B2 level English class on phrasal verbs related to travel. Again, I'm a teacher, I can do this myself, but I'm working with 12 groups at the same time. I don't have the time. So, ChatGPT can do it for me. The cool thing is that you can add details like each question should have 4 options and 1 correct answer. Maybe you want to use Kahoot and you don't feel like coming up with the questions yourself. ChatGPT can do it for you. Then it's just a matter of pasting everything there. And here I didn't include the vocabulary, but if you already worked on phrasal verbs that are maybe in the coursework, write them here and ChatGPT knows what you want to focus on. Or what about escape rooms? Design a mystery game for intermediate English learners where students must solve riddles and complete grammar challenges to unlock the final clue. And I want to work on narrative tenses. This one has been really useful for me because I really like escape rooms, but the riddles and everything, like the elements that actually make it interesting, they're very difficult to come up with, at least for me. So I use ChatGPT for that. And let me show you how to go about it. So say a prompt, I shared it with ChatGPT, and I have riddle number 1, the location, the challenge, the answer for me, the reward. Also, rewards are very difficult to come up with. So, rewards. Riddle number 2, another challenge, the key, the reward. So I have everything I need. Again, if I don't like it, I can regenerate it, I can edit it, but I have something to work with. And if you're working face-to-face, it's just a matter of printing this or writing things down on pieces of paper and going into a classroom and setting everything up. Or I'm working online, so something that, if the output is not what we're looking for, we can regenerate it. Hold on, I'm going to come here. There. So how can we use it with our students? If you're working face-to-face, set everything up and you're ready to go, just print it. Or I'm working online, so I copy one element, for example, the setting, and I use Google Forms and I paste that there. So students already know what's going on. They have the context. Then I copy another element. So we have a riddle and a task. So I copy one element and I paste it here. So you see here I only included sentence number 1, the one that students have to complete. And then I will give them the options. And if they cannot get it right, they are not going to move on. So, a way to use escape rooms if you're teaching online. Again, I copy another element, sentence number 2. I paste it here and I give them the options. So, and you keep on doing that. You just copy and paste, you copy and paste, you copy and paste, and you have your escape room. It doesn't matter if you're working face-to-face or online, there's always something that we can do, And by the way, when we finish, I'm going to share a handout with a summary of the things we've talked about today. And there's a tutorial. Maybe you want to, see someone like copying, pasting things. And there's a really nice video on YouTube. This is how I learned how to create escape rooms. So I'm going to share the link to it in case you want to take a look at it. So again, it's just a matter of copying and pasting. But, if you've never used like Google Forms before, or you're not sure like how to go about it, I'm going to be sharing that with you in a moment. Let me go back because there are some things we didn't talk about. Oh, there. Bingo. Generate a vocabulary bingo activity for advanced English learners. Provide a list of 20 business-related words and create sentences using those words for me to read aloud. So again, I can create the bingo cards myself. I'm the teacher, but I have the vocabulary, I have the examples, I have the sentences. It can help me save time. It gives me something to work with. Sometimes just, at least for me, staring at a blank sheet of paper is scary. So, having something, it's a nice feeling. What about this one? Would you rather? Generate 10 would you rather questions using comparatives and superlatives for upper intermediate English learners. So the idea is to share pretty much any topic that we need to work on, any structure, anything, I don't know, a bunch of vocabulary items, and see what ChatGPT provides us with. And the cool thing is that it's very detailed when it comes to, the examples, the sentences that we can use. So that's nice. So this is the example I shared with you before. Here. What about board games? Design a board game for a lesson on the passive voice. Include 20 tasks that students must complete as they land on each square. And I thought, why don't we do this live? So let me show you how I go about it. So I shared the prompt with ChatGPT. ChatGPT came up with all the sentences that I can use. Again, I can do this myself, but I just didn't have that much time. So I went to Canva, you see? So I just typed board game. I like this one. I always use the same one, but yeah. So customize. Let's see, so there we go. There we have it. We have different options. If you're going to be working face-to-face, you might want to use this one, if you need to print it. But right now I'm working online, so I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to get rid of this and this. I don't need this either. I'm not going to use cards either. So I'm going to, take this. Let me zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to adapt it to the space that we have. There we go. And then I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I copy this. All right. Come back to my board game. I paste it. There we go. Now let's copy it. I go back to ChatGPT. Copy the other one. Of course, we're going to check them, right? Make sure that they are what we need. Come back here. Paste it. You see, and I can keep going. I'm going to keep copying everything. Go back to Canva. There we go. And in a couple of minutes, I have a board game. And I use this site right here, roll a die. So students can click there. Okay, so back to Canva. 1. I can't imagine live in another country, to live in another country, living in another country. Hold on, let me go back to the course book to see how we use the verb imagine. And they have to complete the phrase together. Let's see, do you remember how do we do this? Okay, write it down, and then we check all together. Let's see, guys, who landed on the first square? Me. Okay, how did you complete that phrase? I can't imagine living. Okay, beautiful, fantastic. Who landed on the second square? Me. Okay, how did you complete? And it's a game. Students can work in groups, pairs, and then we can check all together. So it's a nice thing that we can do and try. And again, it takes 5 minutes. That's my favorite part, really. All right, so there we go. Yeah, so here are all the steps. So you go to Canva, look for a board game. There are lots of templates. Pick the one you like best. Pick one. And as we just did together, just copy, paste, and there you go. You have a game. Oh, hold on. There are more games. Here. Spelling or vocabulary challenges. Create a list of 10 scrambled words for a vocabulary lesson on adjectives with ed and ing. And include hints for each word, because this is not a guessing game. This is a vocabulary challenge. So I need some context for it to make sense for my students, What about memory games? Create 10 vocabulary words about emotion, or come up with a list of 10 words about emotions and their definitions for a memory matching card game for B2 learners. Maybe you don't have a course book to work with, or the vocabulary is a bit outdated. So I can use ChatGPT to come up not just with the activity, but also with the words I can use. What about Taboo? A classic, super simple. Create a list of 10 words, or come up with a list of 10 words for intermediate students, and include 3 taboo words for each one, and make sure we focus on travel-related terms. Again, I'm the teacher. I can do this myself, but sometimes if we're working with, 10, 12, 15 groups, this takes a lot of time because we have to do this 10, 12, 15 times. So ChatGPT can help. Again, AI is just a tool, right? All right, so this is the board game. And I want to show you this bonus. There's a platform, an organization actually called AI for Education. I don't know if you've heard of it. They have a really, really cool website where they have basically a prompt library. So, for example, if tomorrow you happen to be planning a lesson, or doing something different, rubrics, quizzes, maybe you need to come up with, examples or use graphic organizers, you just go here and they will have ready-made prompts you can use. Just tweak them a little bit to make sure that you focus on the topics that you need to focus on with your students, and you're ready to go. So, if you're ever like, how can I write this prompt? How can I do this? Maybe you can come here. There are lots of ready-made prompts, and you can pick the one that you need. I'm also going to share the link now. All right. There we go. Do we have questions? Do we have comments? How are we doing? Everything all right? Yeah? Cool. All right. There we go. So in the chat, I'm sharing. a handout with a summary of the things we saw today, a certificate of attendance in case anyone happens to need one. And here there's also Google Forms in case you want to share your thoughts on the session. Let me stop recording just in case someone wants to share something. There we go. Let me go to the chat. Something that I use for A2 students is asking ChatGPT to add emojis. Oh, what a nice idea! I have to try it too. Definitely. Thanks, Nicole, for sharing that. All right, cool. Let me know if you can open everything, the handout, the certificate, if you can edit it. Just in case. I checked before, but just in case, you guys tell me. All right. Any questions or any comments? What games I generally use extra challenges. Like go back to, oh yeah, definitely. Good one. Cool. Oh yeah, thanks for that. Really glad to hear that. Cool. All right. If you happen to have questions. Oh, very helpful. Cool. Thank you, Fed. Glad to hear that. All right. Love it. Oh, cool. Very glad to hear that. Thank you. All right. So that's it for me for today. So if you happen to have questions, comments, or anything, tell me or type them there in the chat. Let me know if you can open everything, you know, the handout, everything. And if there are no questions, hope you guys have a great weekend. And of course, if you happen to be trying something, I don't know, next Wednesday, and you cannot do something or something looks different, DM me and we can see it together. I entered the certificate, but I don't know how to input my name. Let me show you. I think I shared the right link. Let me show you how you're supposed to go about it. Oh, hold on. Let me share another link. I used one where you should be able to edit the thing, but let me certificate. Yeah. Something. Template. Let's see. In the chat, let me know if you can, you will see that it says like edit here. It should look like this. And you just click there. Oh, cool. Great. All right, cool. Let me go back to the chat. Here's a new template. I guess I just shared another one. I know the one that I used. There you go. Cool. Thank you guys. Thank you, Pao. Lao, you too. I'm glad you liked it. All right. Perfect. What about the rest? Could you all access it? Could you edit? Cool. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for joining. All right. I don't know how to write my name. Look, Gary, here is the link. Let me see. This one, look. If you click there, you should see this. And just click here where it says edit template. And you will be able to edit this part where it says your name. And you can write your name. Let me know if you can. Oh, cool. Cool. Thank you, Mari. Cool. Yeah, if you do the escape room, let me know how it goes. Yeah. All right, cool. No more questions or doubts, comments, anything? No? All right. So I guess I'll see you guys later on Instagram. Again, if you happen to have doubts, questions, or anything, just DM me, okay? You don't have the option. Hold on. I will just make one for you now. And I will send it to you. There we go. Fabi, do you want to share an email address with me and I can email it to you? Luna. So Fabiola, Luna, Fabiola, Luna. Guys, if anyone else needs me to edit the certificate, you tell me and I can do it now. Cool. So we have Fabi, there you go. So Fabi, Fabiola, because there's another Fabi. Hold on a minute. I don't want to mess up. So there we have Fabiola. There you go. Sent. Oh, hold on. Google doesn't recognize your email. What's going on? Is it Fabiola S. Luna 454 hold on, at Gmail?
Sí, es Fabiola S. Luna 454@gmail.com.
Perfect. Sent. And let's go with Fabi, the other Fabi. Fabi, could you share your whole name, your complete name, please? Because I can see Fabi, and that's about it. Bye, Yagos. Thanks for joining. Have a nice weekend. Perfect. So, Fabiana, there we go. There. Certificate. There we go. All right, sent. Let me know if you got it. All right, anyone else? Oh, cool. Great. Bye-bye. See you later. Thanks for joining.